Hello everyone, and welcome to a new playthrough of Dungeon Crawl Stone Soup. We're currently, if you've been watching my previous videos, I guess, spoiler alert, if there's one of those older videos that you want to watch, but you don't want to know how it ended, and somehow you wound up here instead of on that one, I'm about to tell you how it ended, so, pause and go finish the Maybe game if that's what you're into or whatever. And you care about spoilers. But we're currently on a 5-game win streak. So which is my personal record. I think I had one or maybe two different 4-game win streaks, which was my personal best for quite a while. And now that I'm up to 5, I'm pretty pleased, and I would like to continue extending it if I can. I think that's a higher priority over getting my second win with every race and background. So I want to play something sort of easy-ish, but I also... it's sort of a tradition in crawl streaks to not repeat the same race or background in one streak. So I don't like I've here's the games I've won in the streak, by the way: Halfling Artificer, High Elf Warper, Demigod Gladiator, Felid Fire Elementalist, and Minotaur Berserker. So I want to play something that's like not any of those, but that's still reasonably good. So I asked the IRC bot, hey, do you have a suggestion? What could I play that I've never played before? Because I also want to get, more of those characters that I win on the first try. Something I've never played before that's not in any of those races or any of those backgrounds, and that gets won reasonably often. And it suggested some pretty dreadful stuff like Deep Elf Abyssal Knight, which I guess is like maybe not the worst thing in the world, but I'll pass, thanks. And it suggested something else like, Centaur something weird, man. I don't know. Maybe it was like Centaur Warper or something. Who knows? Anyway, I didn't really feel like playing that. But then after I asked for a few more suggestions, I got Gargoyle Wanderer, which sounds pretty easy. I've won like 3 or 4 gargoyles, and they were all really easy gargoyles, I found when I was looking at the at my list, my win list. The first gargoyle I ever won was the first berserker I ever won as well, Gargoyle Berserker. And I've also won like Gargoyle Assassin. That's, I believe, my real-time speedrun record. Like, that game took me, I don't know, 4 or 5 hours or something. Much better than my usual. And like, I also have a Gargoyle Berserker, Gargoyle Assassin. I have a Gargoyle Monk. I don't remember that one very well. But okay, we're a Wanderer. Let's see what we got. Got a little fighting, some maces and flails. That's pretty good for a gargoyle, honestly. Armor, stealth, transmutations, and air magic, huh? So it looks like our primary Wanderer feature is having a bunch of transmutations, but no book. And then we have maces, a crossbow, and a dagger? What? God, buff Wanderers, please. This makes no sense. I don't understand why you can get, like, a bunch of points in a spell school, but no spell of that school. It just seems, like, weird. And then we've got, like, stealth, I guess, to go with the dagger. But that's not very good. Ugh. This is kind of a gross character. We have a +2 mace, which is like real good though. So that's something. I think we're gonna head in that direction. The direction of getting like more maces and flails and just hope for the best. I guess bolts on auto pickup is fine. If I remember to use the crossbow, it should be pretty useful. And I'll just pick up stones as well. Okay, off we go. And we're going to need to be real careful in the early game. Oh, hello, stones. Great. Because that is, of course, where we are the most vulnerable, especially on such a wonky Wanderer start. Ringmail, I'm already wearing. More stones, more gold. I don't like going out in the open here. I'm going to try... Is this yellow? Is this the same color as usual? I guess it is. I was just imagining it was a different color. partly because I was looking at the footage of my B game recently, and the part where I find like a B vault that's got yellow walls, and I guess I was just a little paranoid in this game because I had recently been reminded of it. All right, a ring is nice. Here's hoping it's not negative something awful. Protection from magic, fine. Yee. All right, so there's this guy. Let's get out the crossbow and shoot at him a bit. All right, that didn't help. Please no kill, thanks. Sling bullets, okay. Not a lot of monsters on Dungeon 1 today. Another ring, sure. Wizardry, okay. Another mace, but it's not any good. Hand axe, not too interested. All right, a rat, we'll back up. And yeah, took him down with some stones. Maybe not necessary, but a bit safer than just walking up and tabbing him. All right, let's back off. I should have lured this kobold back a bit sooner. As it was, his shout attracted a goblin who saw me. If I had been playing a little more carefully, I would have backed up so that when the goblin arrived at where the kobold had shouted, I wouldn't be there anymore. Boots. Okay, +0, but armor is better than not armor. Are these guys slow? They're not. Okay. I'm inclined to just get out the crossbow, but are we corrosion resistant or anything? No. Okay. All right. So an ooze is pretty strong, and we can't just run upstairs like we often could. They can't eat doors, though, I believe. Only jellies can. So we could, instead of just standing and fighting, we could run up here, shut the door, and escape that way. Escape is maybe a bit of a strong word, because the only way out of this area is back into the area where the ooze is. We could go up here, maybe. Yeah, that could be a good idea. I don't think I want to fight this ooze right now. And I will go through this way just to make some distance for myself. Yeah, indeed, he's not eating the door. And we'll just run up here so he doesn't see us. All right, he did see us, but we've got plenty of distance, so we can just shut the door. Now, I think these two areas are connected, so we're not totally safe from him, but he's not following us right now is the important thing. All right, level 2, great. That's a big help. +4. Something barely misses the bush. What bush? This bush? I guess so. Something standing in one of these two squares is attacking the bush for some reason. Why? Or this square, actually. Or this one, I see. Oh, this bush. So something standing in one of these two places is attacking the bush for some reason. Who knows? All right, let's back up like this. It's a goblin. And we're going to get out the crossbow for him. All right, that's honestly probably enough. Yeah. Did we need to use the crossbow? Maybe not. There's that ooze again. We're level 2 now, guys. Level 2. Do I want to fight him? Not exactly. I think we're going to continue to run away. He's not yellow anymore. I was mostly worried because the game marked him as yellow. which tells me that he's probably a bit rough. And like, I don't remember exactly how strong an ooze is, and like compared to how strong we are, can we take them? I don't really know. But the game thinks it's yellow, so I'm a little like worried about it. Oh, that should be exciting. That's what I get, I suppose. You know, I mean, I know I'm taking these kinds of risks when I equip unidentified rings. Like sometimes you wind up with a ring of teleportation, which honestly is a way that we could just more or less be killed in the early game. There's just a lot of situations you can get put into that you don't have a way out of, really. And I don't know. Maybe I should reevaluate my policy of trying on unidentified rings in the early game before I have Remove Curse. It sort of seems a bit like... I think we're mostly clear here. Let's auto-explore. It seems a bit like random mutations, right? Like, ooh. Like, I think I'm good enough at this game to generally win. And, like, if I put on a ring and it's good, hey, I've improved my odds of winning, but maybe not by that much. Whereas if it's, like, cursed, maybe I've doomed myself. If it's cursed ring of teleportation, maybe I've doomed myself to lose for no particular, like, big gains. Right, the downside is a lot larger than the upside, I guess is what I'm getting at. Let's read these scrolls. Usually I prefer to wait until I have a stack of 2 to read identify a scroll, but here I'm really desperate for Remove Curse. Okay, well, too bad. Dungeon 2 is, well, as suggested by the swarm of monsters around this stair, Dungeon 2 is not currently a very safe place to land in a random place on. Now, the good news is, of course, we're a gargoyle, so adders are not as big a deal for us as they would be for most characters. Let's take some some dex or some strength, and I'm not really sure which. I think I'll take some strength. I want to get involved in some heavier armor. We don't have any heavier armor yet, but we will soon. And we don't have any real dodging ability yet, so the dex is not doing much for us. Right, back up. So I don't know, I guess I was maybe a little bit not too afraid, but more afraid than necessary anyway, of the adder when I came down these stairs. Like, I guess there were so many monsters that regardless of what they were, it was correct to run away. But I remember noticing there was at least one yellow enemy, and I was like, oh my gosh, a disaster. And I didn't even really look and realize, oh, the yellow enemy is just an adder, and like the poison is not such a big deal. So maybe that wasn't as big of a threat as it would be for many characters. But it was still something that was well worth running away from. Now here, I'm running towards this adder, which is something that I normally would not do, right? I would throw stones or something to maybe deal a little extra damage while he closes the distance. But I think in this case it's correct to run towards him because I have all this unexplored area down here, and I'm concerned that if I stay fighting like right here or something, some other monster will come around the corner and sandwich me, which would be much, much worse than just fighting the adder. I want to clear an escape route as quickly as possible, is why I charge the adder, where normally I would not do so. Up here, I guess? What is this? It's a club. Okay. Dagger of Holy Wrath. If it's enchanted, it could be pretty good. +2. Alright. We'll keep that for like skeletons or something. I think at such low skill levels, a +2 dagger of Holy Wrath could be fine. even though we're not going to train daggers for it. Amnesia. Yeah, I already used Amnesia on whatever transmutation spell I learned, I guess. You know, back at home in the city where I grew up, or the town, I suppose, where I grew up. I was a big transmuter, and I must have learned some transmutation spell in order to be able to train the skill, but I've long since forgotten about it, I guess. Ooh, a dart slug, but the dart slug is trapped. That's interesting. So let's just not go up there. Ugh, I'm like a little, I'm not sure what to do about him, because I don't want to like run this way and then just run. I don't want to explore this way and then discover that the dart slug was smart enough to come up here, right? So I'm thinking of going up there and chasing him down, but it's not clear to me that I can do so without also disturbing the giant newt. And like even just fighting him, the dart slug, I don't know. Maybe it wouldn't be too bad, but what am I saying? Dart slugs, like, I don't know, they can do a fair bit of damage, so I don't necessarily want to engage one if I can help it. All right, like a worm. Okay, great. Let's run away from that. Coming? There he is. Oh, let's get out the crossbow. All right, never mind. Okay, great. There's the dart slug. Fine. We'll wait for him to get into melee range, because in melee range he doesn't do much. I don't believe they use their darts while in... what? That doesn't seem right. Hello? Ah, there was a monster and he just batted away. All right, because random teleportation by rings of teleportation are only supposed to teleport you into view of a monster. They used to teleport you just anywhere at random, and the thing was that, like, if they teleported you near a monster, they were dangerous and interesting, and if they teleported you nowhere near a monster, they were just, like, boring and harmless and annoying and tedious. So it was changed so that if it would teleport you into somewhere where there's no monsters, then instead it does nothing. And so when that thing teleported me next to... and then I couldn't see any monsters in view, I was like, what the heck is going on? That's not supposed to be possible. But it turns out that there had been a bat in view, and he was just confused and walked the wrong way. All right, this is a little scary. I think we ought to be okay. Yeah, okay. I would be happy to find an altar to... well, there's a lot of gods I would be happy to find an altar to as soon as possible. And now that we're on Dungeon 2, it's somewhat more likely that we'll find one. You can find altars on Dungeon 1, but that's pretty rare. The way it works is that a temple layout is selected at the beginning of the game, and it has some number of altars, but typically not all, like, 24 or whatever. And so gods are selected to fill out the altars in temple, and then it's like, okay, but that wasn't all the gods, and so does Egypt have a wand or something? She often has a pretty nasty wand. Let's back up until we can get her into, like, this position. Alright, she's not using a wand, that's nice. Anyway, so some gods are selected for the temple, but that's not all of the gods in the game. Yeah, that seems like an improvement. And we guarantee that you'll find an altar to any god except for Jiva or Lugonu sometime before Dungeon 9. And so the gods who aren't in the temple, we look for special altar vaults. We like choose what floors to put them on. Oh geez, I don't know about that. Oh boy. Honestly though, what would be bad? Let me look at this. I'll finish explaining the temple first. So the rest of the gods, we choose special, like they're called overflow altar vaults. for each of them, and we scatter them throughout Dungeon 2 through 9. So finding an altar on Dungeon 2 is like relatively common compared to Dungeon 1, where we don't put overflow altars. The occasional altar on Dungeon 1 is just a result of randomly some vault getting placed there that happens to be an altar. Much less common than Dungeon 2 through 9, where we intentionally put down altar vaults. Okay, so here's all the gods, right? And, like, I would not appreciate getting Zom. I would not appreciate Vayamet? Maybe? The Shining One would be poorish. But everyone else would be fine. What's the Gargoyle Invocation aptitude like? +1? This character is so, like, a blank slate, right? There's not any one thing we're committed to at all yet. So almost any god would be fine. Dithmenos would be a little weird, I guess, because we've been going for maces, and like you tend to want to be able to stab things with Dithmenos. But he's also fine for just fighting things. Like you get the Shadow Mimic that like does attacks whenever you do attacks, and so on. So, and if we do get the Shining One, we could consider, like, when we find an altar to a Livelon or something, switching. So we wouldn't even be stuck with the Shining One. And even Vayamet would be fine, because you get spell gifts. I think this character is flexible enough to roll with any god at all, and this way you get some extra piety. So I'm going to go for it. I usually say that Fated Altars are not very good, but this character could use some help, and is not committed to any one particular playstyle, so getting a god that is committal, you don't run the risk of like, oh no, I'm a mage and I got Trog, right? We're flexible enough to go in any direction at all. So yeah, Lugonu. All right, that's exciting, huh? I forgot to even think about those two, Lugonu and Jiva. Did I say Lugonu and Jiva earlier when I was talking about the two gods that we don't guarantee to place? I'm sure I said Jiva. I might have said something dumb like Abyss. Jiva and Abyss? I don't know. I meant Lugonu anyway. Maybe I said Lucy, which is sort of a nickname for Lugonu. Okay, well, we have Blink now. That's pretty cool. I kind of want to train some invocations here, but I also really need maces and flails. I'm going to train invocations just a bit so that I can get it to like level 1 or 2, make Blink a little bit more reliable. Because I don't want to train a bunch of it because it'll make me weaker, like spending a bunch of XP on learning Blink. Oh, we're almost done here. I'll just auto-explore. And then we'll go finish off this newt. I don't want to spend a bunch of XP on getting Blink reliable because it'll make us weaker. We'll have a harder time killing guys. Oh, I have a new scroll. Hang on. Enchant armor on the cloak. Sure. Maybe I should have picked the boots, actually. Whatever. Doesn't matter that much. What was I talking about? Right. I don't want to spend too much... Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Can I get to these stairs before she can? Maybe. I don't want to spend too much experience on Blink because it'll make it harder to kill monsters, and then like I'll need to Blink more. I have a hard time balancing training invocations with training my like regular kill dudes. Is why I don't do so well with like Zin or Livelon or something. I keep like my character feels so weak because I've poured so much experience into invocations, and I can't make good use of my invocations for whatever reason. So I'm not sure that I'm making the right decision by training invocations now. But it is, like, I think really great to be able to break contact with a monster. Right, if we get cornered, you know, it can save our lives to just like get away from a monster so that we can get to an upstair. So the thing is, we could run to this stair, or we could run to this stair, and I'm not sure which one is better. This is 2 squares away. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 squares away. So if we run to the closer one, it's possible that Natasha will get there at the same time as we do and be able to follow us upstairs, which would be pretty bad. On the other hand, we can get there more quickly, and she won't have as much time to like shoot at us. If we run up to the one to the north, Natasha will have more turns to shoot at us, but we're guaranteed to get there before she does, and she won't follow us upstairs. So, is it a stair or a hatch? It's a stair. Right. I think I'm going to run to the one up here, because this gives her like at most 2 or maybe 3 turns of casting spells at us. Because every time she casts a spell, she falls further behind in chasing us. And so I can survive 3 magic darts from Natasha for sure. So I'm just gonna get out of here. Are we immune to pain, by the way? I think we are. So we could fight a Shadow Imp, but there's obviously no reason to. I want to find this staircase. Yeah. Okay. Oh, there's Natasha again. She found us. But the good news is now this staircase is safe. And like, could we fight Natasha? I don't know. Maybe even probably. But there's no compelling reason to do so. We would get a bit of experience if we could kill her 3 times. I don't think you get any experience for killing her once, although I'm not sure. I'm going to duck around the corner here so I can get her adjacent. Now we can't really run away very easily, so I don't have much to do aside from fight her. So what I'm going to do is get to a spot where she won't have a lot of where she enters my line of sight very close to me, so that I can close the distance quickly. And also being in a corner will help against her summons, right? If I'm standing in this corner here, there can be at most 2 monsters adjacent to me. Likewise, if I were standing, say, here. The spot I'm currently in, there are 3 spots next to me, so I'd like to get out of this spot at some point. All right, we're just going to wait here. Back up. Charge forward again. And like, this fight probably goes very easily, but maybe it doesn't. Like, an Iron Imp is actually pretty good for her. Now there's a Crimson Imp. Wow, nice magic dart. Jeez. Natasha's magic dart is way stronger than a player magic dart. Alright, so we learned something interesting, which is that you get experience for killing Natasha the first time. Maybe I'll remember that. And we got bend space down to 16. I think I should get it to level 2 at least. Yikes. We got teleported. Let's back up. Hope nothing arrives from the east, although if it does, we can blink. Huh? Pretty good. Hunting Sling. Honestly, I feel like Sling is better than Crossbow in the early game if you haven't invested in it. But like, I don't really want either of them that badly. Let's try this Amulet. Gourmand, sure, I guess. Doesn't really matter, but... here's Natasha, and we've got, again, a spot just like earlier where we could fight her in sort of this corner. If we had to. But I would rather run away and see if she follows. And if she doesn't... let's just skip 20 turns. Yeah, she's not coming. Alright, so we can leave that area. There's Fedhas. Fedhas is quite strong. I had a Fedhas game pretty recently, so I'm reasonably happy not to be doing another. Alright, there's Natasha. She found us. Let's back up, find this corner again. Got her. Fedhas is another god that, like, since he's invocation-based, I have trouble balancing. A book. Could it be? Transmutations. Book of the Sky. It's not transmutations. But honestly, we don't really want transmutations. We're just throwing away that experience. we're going into maces, right? So this is kind of a high-level air magician book, which, you know, I mean, look at our aptitude, right? -2. Like, if we had to, yeah, we could learn air magic, but especially wearing chainmail, it's just not something we're likely to do anytime soon. And I'll just leave it on the floor, and later, if I'm looking for spells to learn, I can search for book or something, and... No! Alright, that's actually a problem I did not consider. I was tabbing the worm, and I felt reasonably safe because I knew I could run away, right? And I knew that I was out of range for the worm to kill me in one hit. So I was like, yeah, I'll just keep fighting him. And run away if I get hit again. But I did not consider the fact that I could get teleported towards a scary monster, such as, say, Natasha. So this is pretty bad. I don't really have any good consumables here. So the plan I'm looking at is actually running downstairs. I really don't want to fight Natasha out in the open, is the reason that I don't just charge towards her. Maybe it's the best plan. Like, the reason that it's typically a bad plan is because of all of her summons, right? She can summon, you know, white imps, iron imps. Honestly, those are the only two that are a big deal. The crimson imps are, like, they're kind of dumb and they tend not to hit you too much, so it's the crimson imps and the iron imps I'm worried about. I believe what are they called? The shadow imps? Shadow imps, I think, don't really do much to us because we have negative energy resistance, but I could be wrong about that. We do, right? Yeah, we do. Okay. The problem with running downstairs is we can just get teleported somewhere even worse, right? I could quaff agility, but the main way Natasha's going to hurt us is with spells that don't check evasion. Magic Dart. And I guess that's the main one, right? The imps mostly do check evasion, so it's a thing we could do. We also have a potion of curing, so we can regain a bit of health if we need to. It doesn't seem like a good idea right this moment. I want to either get closer to her or get further away. I just haven't decided which. I don't want to stand right here. And I think it's an important decision, and I just don't know yet what's right, so I need to think about it for a while. So she has Magic Dart. She also has Slow. I forgot she has Slow. We have Magic Resistance, so it's not that likely to hit us, but it could. She's also, like, she's been killed twice, which means she is, she loses 1 hit dice every time you kill her, I think. I think she starts with 3, and then she has 2, and then she has 1. So, like, her Magic Dart should be weaker. The imps she summons, I guess, are going to be about the same, but might not last as long. I think that's how it works. I'm not sure. So, all things considered, I think we do want to fight Natasha. Which means just charging towards her. I could throw stones, but it's more important that we get into melee range than try to do a little bit of damage at a distance. Okay, that went well. There's an imp, but I think it's too late. Please be too late. Oh, come on, just hit her. We got her. All right, bend space is at 9, which I think is enough for now. Yeah, I don't mind being teleported next to a goblin, though. Okay, whew, that was an ordeal. I mean, as it happens, not much actually happened, but it was quite dangerous to be teleported next to Natasha like that. Just like, because things can go badly against her. What is this all about? Funguses are like really flimsy plants, so we should be able to get in no trouble. If they were bushes, it would take hours. Or maybe it's plants. It's so hard to remember which one of those has more health. I think funguses are weaker than plants are weaker than bushes. But honestly, why should you have to remember that as a player? I don't know. I wonder if taking Lugonu on Dungeon 3... 2, actually. I wonder if that gets you more or less piety than starting as an Abyssal Knight. Obviously, it gets you less invocation skill. But you get a big piety. You get like 2 pips of piety for the Faded Altar. And actually, for starting as Abyssal Knight, you kind of get 0 pips of piety in a way. You start with 1, but you tend to use that to escape the Abyss, and then be down to like about 0 pips when you get into like the dungeon proper. So we probably have more piety than an Abyssal Knight would, which is cool, but we sort of lack the wherewithal to use it exactly. Pretty soon, Banish should open up, and then I'll want to train Invocations some more, because that's the real Gonu lifesaver in the early game. The reason I'm pausing here is because we have 2 potions of Cure Mutation already, which means that we can sort of free roll some potions of mutation and hope for the best. I don't really love doing it, but this character still feels a bit weak. We could be surprised and killed, I think. So I'm gonna gamble a little bit on this. Oh, that's pretty poor. Let's cure out of it. Yes. Those are 2 quite bad mutations. I don't know. I guess the second one's not that bad, but Blurry Vision is pretty bad. Okay, well, that'll do. That was a chance at improving our character. It didn't pay off, but so I could choose to quaff another potion of mutation with my Cure Mute as an escape of sorts, but I don't know. I don't want to spend both of my Cure Mutes on that, because I don't really like mutation gambling, and I only did it because I have 2. With 1, I usually wouldn't. Yeah, more strength sounds good. And now we sort of reduced to the situation where we only have 1. Okay, it's been a pretty slow start to this game. Usually I make it to at least Dungeon 4 by the first episode, but I feel like I had a lot to talk about this game for some reason. So we're going to just stop here. It's been long enough, and then we'll pick it up in the next episode. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.